Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, which is the fourth book inside the Sherlock Holmes series. I have spoiler-free reviews for the first three books inside the series already out on the channel, and they are A Study in Scarlet, The Sign of the Four, and The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I'll link the playlist down in the description as well as up in the iCard so that you can check it out if you're interested. I'm also going to do spoiler-free reviews for all the books inside the Sherlock Holmes series as I finish reading them. So if you want to know more about the series, so without any further ado, let's get into the review right away. As I said before, this is the fourth book inside the series, and I should say that it felt more like coming back home to me because I read the last book inside the series almost a year back, that is in July 2021. But it did not feel different in any way for me at all because I've got so much attached to both of our main characters, Sherlock as well as Watson in this one, and they felt so much like friends for myself just as much they are friends to each other. This is a collection of 11 short stories, and I should say that you can read all the short stories in any order, and you need not read them in the order that they are written because the plot of one short story does not collide with the plot of another short story in any way at all. Even the characters whom we focus on throughout all the 11 short stories are different except for the two main characters, Sherlock and Watson, and the way in which their friendship has developed in this book compared to the previous books inside the series is just beautiful if you ask me. By this point, it is made obvious for that Watson is very much used to the ways of Sherlock Holmes, and he is one of the few people who understands Sherlock really well and is able to guess what he's about to do. He is also not that much amazed when Sherlock keeps on whipping out facts about the cases that he's dealing with without even seeing anything for that long a time as normal people do. The extent to which Sherlock analyzes each and everything in a very quick basis has become so much customary for Watson, and it has been shown really well by the author in this one. And it is also not like every case that is handled by Sherlock inside this book is solved by him, so that made the book realistic and Sherlock Holmes a bit more human than just a normal character if you ask me. There are also some other elements which are included in the previous books also, which are shown as flaws inside his character so that he is humanized really well. It is followed on in this book also, and I should say that the author has done a really good job of doing that. It is not like the books are about the mysteries and the cases that the characters deal with alone, but the characters themselves also. The growth that he shows in both our main characters throughout this book is really nice, and the bond they develop as friends is also clearly shown to us in the most immaculate way if you ask me. Another special thing about this book is that we get to know the first case that was solved by Sherlock Holmes and also the first case that he was involved in. We get a small flashback like short story that is narrated by Sherlock to Watson, and the way in which Watson narrates it to us is really nice if you ask me because he is one person who knows Sherlock really well, and the way in which he describes his posture and the things that he does while he's narrating his story to Watson is really nice. I think those are the small touches that the author has included inside this book in order to show us how much friends they have become over the past few months or years that they have traveled together solving mysteries. It's also really clearly shown that they don't spend that much time together because Watson himself has his own life, his own family, and he also has his own profession since he started practicing a few months back, and he is practicing while he's solving all the mysteries that are going on inside this book also. There are some places during which Watson's knowledge of medicine is also put into use while solving cases because it's not like Sherlock can just go forward and analyze each and everything that is going on. Despite all these things, I should say that this is definitely not my most favorite of all the Sherlock Holmes books that I've read so far. My most favorite from everything that I've read so far is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is the book preceding this one. The reason why I am not that much attached to this one compared to that book is because this is not as much atmospheric as The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes was. It might also be because of the reason that I read this during the summer and I read it during the monsoon season last year. While I was reading The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, it just made me feel perfectly like a cozy mystery book, but this did not give those kind of vibes for me because it is not like every story that happens here has that kind of cool English climate. It just keeps on changing continuously, and it's not like all the stories are happening in the present also. Another thing which I appreciate about this book is that there's one short story inside the collection which has something to do with a black character, and for the time during which this book was published, that is during a time when there was predominant racism, that short story is something which just felt very genuine and separate for me as a whole because the way in which the author has addressed the story and shown it to us is really nice. He does use some words which are not supposed to be used anymore in order to address any person, but the way in which he has carried on the story and ended it is really nice if you ask me. It's not like all mysteries that are involved inside these stories only belong to the white people, but also for others also. It's not anything that is huge and predominant inside the book as a whole, but I should say that even including that is a really nice choice done by the author even that many years back. Another thing which I want to talk about is the pacing issue inside this book, okay? It's not like all the short stories which we read here are consistently paced. There are some short stories which move on very fast and there are others which move on very slow. And I should say that for most part of the book the pacing was slow, and that was a main issue for me because in the previous books it was not this much slow in any case at all. That does not make the mysteries boring, but the pacing just felt very off-putting for me during various instances. All those were complemented by the narration of Stephen Fry, if you ask me, because I listened to the audiobook for this one and followed on with the physical copy. If you are also planning to read the entire Sherlock Holmes series, I'd highly suggest you to get the Sherlock Holmes collection that is narrated by Stephen Fry, and it is available on Audible. It is 72 hours long and it has all the Sherlock Holmes stories put together in just a single audiobook itself, and you need not even worry about the order because it is ordered chronologically in the way which all the books in the series were published. So finally, I rated the book 3.75 out of 5 stars because of the pacing issue alone, and that's it for my spoiler-free review of the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. If you did enjoy watching today's video and found it useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.